A major earthquake has struck off the Alaskan coast, one of the biggest in US records. The magnitude 7.9 quake struck nearly 300 kilometers southeast of the city of Kodiak. A tsunami warning has now been lifted, although an advisory is still in place for South Alaska and parts of the Pacific. People had been told to seek high ground when sirens went off shortly after the quake was registered. Let's get more on this. I'm joined by Mark Allen, who's the Deputy Head of the Science Faculty at Durham University. Mark, good to have you with us. So it seems as though the tsunami warning has been lifted, but there is still this advisory in place. And this was a very large earthquake in that area.
Indeed it was. A magnitude 7.9 event like this could cause extremely severe casualties if it had happened within the continent, or if it had indeed generated a tsunami which had affected coastal areas. So it looks like this time Alaska and adjacent areas have got off relatively lightly.
But in this particular area there is a risk of large earthquakes, isn't there, because of the movement of tectonic plates?
Very definitely. The Pacific plate is moving northwards underneath the North American continent, and it doesn't glide smoothly, but it does so in a series of sort of stuttering movements, and each one of those stutters is equivalent to an earthquake. And this region of the Northern Pacific has indeed suffered many similar-sized earthquakes over the last decades and further back into geological time. So it's not a surprise that an earthquake like this has occurred here, but by any means.
And when it happened, there was obviously a massive flurry of activity. People were talking about tsunami, sirens going off. In cases like this, how efficient is that early warning system, and how much notice would people get of a potential tsunami?
In regions sort of further away along the coast, they might have a couple of hours of warning that the tsunami waves, if they're generated, would take hours to travel distances of hundreds of kilometers, and in particular in an area like North America, there's a good warning system set up that there would be a timely warning for people. If an earthquake happens within the continent, then the earthquake waves themselves, travelling through solid rock rather than through the water, travel extremely quickly, sort of kilometres per second, and in most cases there isn't time to sort of generate any useful warning which could get people out of harm's way.
Mark, interesting stuff. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Mark Allen there from Durham University here in the UK.